Hey everyone, if you enjoy the video, please be sure to check out the Patreon linked in the description. Any little always helps to keep the channel going, plus you get tons of perks in return. Hope to see you there. Right away, it certainly sets off the tingles for an adventure, given it starts in a rainy city and the next shot is in the snowy mountains. Not only does it further tingle the adventure tingles, but it's a legit, beautifully detailed looking castle no less. It's actually pretty cool to see someone who did so much damage actually returning to the place and seeing it being rebuilt. That's pretty rare in anime as far as my experiences go. Ryunosuke from Bungo Stray Dogs. Even though it's not active animation, which it doesn't need to be given its backgrounds, I gotta praise the amount of damage effects that are being displayed in the wrecked walls and such. This win is another prime example of the last win. So good, it needed its own. It's like Berlin in April 1945 up in this room. Total rug pull that hurt my backside. I figured he's here to wipe them out, not asked to join them. Bro updated his CV for this. Bringing up how you beat the person you're asking to join is a technique in an interview for sure. A more personal one, but Elizabetta from Iruma-kun. Always really liked her in that. Simple scene that begins to show how powerful he is, taking all of these blasts with nary an issue. He created frickin' pie charts! You gotta admit, it's certainly a new thing in an anime, because he brought up all the normal tropes and then delves into how annoyed he was having to deal with their issues, given he's so strong. Endeavor from My Hero Academia, and of course Zin from the Trails game series. Ludius and Grey Ratoda from Jobless Reincarnation. Akano from High School DxD. Just saying, between this and win number 9, he seems like he can be a real dick sometimes. Dropping max wins there, firstly because the animation on play during the fight was far better than I imagined it'd be. Secondly, it's because he's not some one-punch man type of character, and I like that. For clarity, he's asked why he doesn't just want to rule the world himself, given he's strong and this is his answer. Firstly, that it's busy work. Secondly, that he likes duels. And his final answer was unexpectedly wholesome too. Interesting way of doing a flashback, by showing him speaking about it, but also showing the scene from the past at the same time. Well, that was just plain old adorable. Not running and tripping on the spot. Now that whole thing makes a lot more sense, as at first I was curious why an enemy was so hyped to be seeing him again.
なのでこちらも敵味方問わず、あらゆる呪文を封印する古代呪文ステイシスを使って強制肉弾戦を挑んでみた。
Her face when she's ready to bring down a massive magical spell onto him and he just stops her from using it.
俺もちょっと低レベルで弱かった。
God. Well, at least she tried. There's some actually very tasty looking animation during the first two battles I've seen play out in this one so far, and it's an unexpected treat to be sure. Rather interestingly, what I'm learning from this series so far is that whilst he's the strongest, he is that way because he does more than one thing, meaning like a mixture of classes, which is cool.
一度火がついた恐怖や不安は誰にも止められなくなる。
Another very different kind of approach to this sort of storyline, where you might think his reasoning was that he got bored or whatever, but no, he felt alien among his own people and was made an outcast due to his strength.
もはやあの男を野放しにしておくわけにはいかない。 You
get another one here, because it went beyond the last win. It wasn't just a case of being lonely, it was straight up a case of people being actively hostile towards him. Gorgeous looking city scenery shot.
魔王を一人で倒したこの俺が今さらアサシンごときにやられるか!
That was quite badass, and credit to the voice actor too. He genuinely sounded pissed off, and less like it was a comedic moment to me. And then the final piece of the puzzle, rather cleverly written by the writer, comes into play that explains away why it makes total sense for him to switch sides. He got royally screwed over. No pun intended. This felt far less like a verbal gesture of genuine goodwill and way more like a worried plea, and that was well done.
町から町へあてもなくさまよっていた。
This really strikes a nice contrast between the initial comedy at the start of the episode, where he's wanting to join their side now, and what he actually went through to get to that point and its sadness.
そうして俺は徹夜で自己アピールを考え、プレゼン資料を作り、果てなき砂の海を渡り。
In line with the prior win, I think actually addressing this and showing parts of it was a nice touch. You still get the great comedy from the start, but more realism now.
世界が俺を殺そうというのなら、俺が世界を殺してやる。
Quite a badass sounding summation of why he's doing what he's doing, to be fair.
これはあくまで1ヶ月のお試し採用です。この私が監督役となってあなたの仕事ぶりをチェックします。
A nice and interesting twist, again more in line with realism than him diving right into being a general or whatever.
兵隊ってお前、一番重要な。
そうなの、一番重要、任されたの。
Getting a serious understanding of how poorly this army is run, given that they've given the most important job to the little beast girl.
一般兵の教育、やるべきことは山積みだ。ゼロに近い状態から軍を再建するのは。
If you know me by now, you'll know that this exact thing is my jam, stemming from my love of the same element within video games where you start with naff all and build up. Even if it's with an army here, I do like it a lot.
命じたはずだぞ。侵略といえど無駄な殺しは認めぬ。
This certainly adds a new dynamic, given we only saw the initial scenes of the invasion, and now we're seeing that she was none too pleased with their actions on the front, in fairness.
なぜここまで追い込まれても人間界から撤退しないのか。
And then you certainly get one for adding a touch of lore, but more importantly, character mystery behind her actions. Let's go!
おい、起きろ。
Exactly the kind of scene I was waiting for so I could drop a kawaii!
やだ、今日はベッドでゴロゴロする。
The pillow!
ああ、よし。 魔将軍よ、新人採用の書類選考はどうなっている？
Bro, that's a straight up crazy amount of magical skills he has. What can only really be described as an incredible amount of animation within that OP. At first, I thought it might just be at the start, but no, the middle came and went, and then the end, and there was tons of animation greatness packed in. On top of that, it had a legit banger song with a great singer, had me headbanging and whatnot, so easy Max wins.
俺の手により壊滅的な被害を受け、多くの幹部級魔族も魔界で療養生活を送る羽目になったこともあり。
Showing us this side of the equation where people are injured and seeking treatment after the battle was yet another nice touch that was added to the story and actually shown, instead of just being talked about.
つまりシティーナが作った魔力炉はシティーナと同じ波長の魔力でしか供給できない。無理に違う波長で供給すれば炉を壊すことになるからな。
Giving him a great reason within the story why he can't just pop down there, fill up the mana stores himself, and scratch item number 50 out of 50 off of a very long to-do list.
方法を聞かないのか？
ハーモナイズで私の魔力の波長を真似るのでしょ？常識です。
Oh well, very minor rug pull. I only slightly tripped, no damage done, as he does have a way of helping, but I'll keep the prior win in place because it meant no one else could do the job till he got there. Some badass looking armor right there. Guess what? You scored a win for it. Tingling my RPG sensors right there.
名前ゴッドハート教とかかっこよくない？
さっさと行きなさい。
Her sounding more and more pissed off with how long it's taking him to actually start his first job for her.
休憩がてらお前さんの仕事を見学したいんだ。邪魔するつもりはない。黙って座ってるから。
If I had to guess, this nicely ticks two boxes. The first box is positioned next to the words, building a harem slowly, and the second box is down the page, located next to the words, it'll help him to help her to do her stuff. Nice!
怠け者、いいから立ちなさい。重い。
I like her personality, I like the rest of everything else, you can guess what and stuff, and also, he's hilarious, quickly using magic to make himself super heavy.
正式採用のためには実績を上げ、四天王の推薦をもらうしかない。これはそのための第一歩だ。
When he talks like this, it really does feel like the start of an epic journey, and serves to further hype me up, baby.
改め黒騎士オニキスである。以後我を、いや、私を、とにかくオニキス教と呼べ。
Such a dork. Unexpected kawaii. Getting the full rundown of what he did to solve many of the hurdles that she had on her list, and in quite the clever fashion, no less.
工房を出た後、不測の事態に遭遇し5分。
This little distraction and him lightly jogging away from her to keep his disguise in place.
そうね、わかりました。ディアネット、今度何かあれば用を申し付けます。
Definitely worthy of a win when we get to see another side to her character. One that makes her feel far more human as well, which is another nice addition.
ディアネットに仕事を教えたと。
お前は心配性が過ぎる。もしも伝えたら、ちょっと様子を見てきますとか言ってただろ。
His reasoning is very solid here, which nicely explains away why on the surface he was acting like a bit of a jerk. It was actually to help her in the long run, which it did.
俺、後ろからずっとお前の仕事と胸を見ていて分かった。
Oh my god, I absolutely nailed win number 52 with my two comments, both in terms of learning how to help her do her paperwork she's doing, but also the cleavage comment. Let's go!
今胸って言いました？
She says like 30 seconds later.
改めてよろしくお願いしますね、レオ。
That wholesome little end to their meeting there.
唇でもいいし、頬でもいいぞ。なんならベッドの上でも。さっさと出て行きなさい！朝よりいて！
For context, at the start of the day, he said if he gets everything done in time, she'll basically give him a kiss. But what I liked about the scene is not everyone is immediately falling in love with him. Gotta work for that. Also though, this day and night cycle of the castle right afterwards.
リリが兵站任務でラルゴへ向かいます。城内の食料や物資が尽きかけているため、先ほどリリから提出された計画書です。
みんな笑顔で元気に楽しく。
I think a win I'll be giving out on the back of this scene is that I do like the prospect of not all of the anime being done within this castle, which very likely wouldn't have been the case anyway. But yeah, the setup already in episode 2 got me hyped alone.
ラルゴ海。その美しい海に浮かぶ無数の島々の8割以上は
Normally the map on its own would score a win, but it's not massive looking, if that makes sense. Which in fairness, it is dotting a grouping of smaller islands, but yeah, seeing it like this, that scored it.
実は明日、リリが兵站任務でラルゴへ向かいます。
A shot of the castle at night, all lit up, looking so damn good it needed to be shown first and then talked over.
魔王軍とラルゴの住人たちとは切っても切り離せない縁があるのです。
ラルゴは確か竜人族が住んでたよな。
What I like about this is knowing already from the start of the episode how useful the place can be, since he explains how there's loads of minerals and untapped locations currently unexplored in the area too.
3000年ぐらい前に魔王ベリアルが人間界に進撃してきて。
Even though it's the first of its kind since the start, I do appreciate how lore is now being injected into the episode, giving us some history on the war and so on.
竜人族もそんな種族の一つだ。
Ah, so these allies are basically people who've had generations after war to learn to live with demons, and so turned into these dragon folk, basically.
竜人族の手厚い支援と全面協力があったからこそ、我々魔王軍はここ人間界で戦い続けることができました。まさにラルゴは魔王軍の生命線なのです。
That portal looking pretty cool but remained unexpected. But the actual win is why it makes total sense to send him off here, given it's the entire lifeline of their army right now.
そっちも俺が。次はこっちだ。
エドバルトだと全部一人でやってしまいます。それではリリ自身の成長につながりません。
それで俺がリリのお目付け役というわけか。
At the same time as the last win, even more info is given as to why he's the best person for the job over the other generals with their own weaknesses that slow things down or whatever. A win normally only dished out in one piece. Right away, you can notice quite obviously how this area's buildings are totally different to the human ones and even the demon castle, which I do like. Whilst this was funny, the biggest takeaway for me was how stunning looking this crowd shot on the high street looked.
リリー、お遊びはそれくらいにして。
The realism of him getting seriously overheated in this massive suit of armor.
まだこれしか運んできてないんですが。
大丈夫。
一往復でいいんですか？
今日はこれでおしまい。みんなでおやつにしよう。
それぞれの種族の特性を生かして適材適所で運用すればどう見ても1日長くても2日で終わる任務だ。
In a weird way, you can see how it's the plan of a child, because she brings up a ton of supplies in one go, knackering everyone out, and then says, let's chill the rest of the day. She's doing it, but very poorly.
具合悪いの？これ食べる？ここ横になる？
頭が痛い。
How come she's so adorable, though?
ですが、勇者レオとの戦いにおいて死者は一人も出ておりません。つまり手加減までされたということだ。
Glad this was included. It makes them allowing him to join them make a lot more sense, rather than say if he slaughtered 8,000 of them.
そうだ。お庭にお花の種まこうよ。ね、ねね。きっとパーッと綺麗になるよ。
そうだな。ありがとう、リリー。
I see what they're saying. In her own way, she's also very valuable to them, outside of her strength, because she's so innocent and fun-loving that she really cheered everyone up here who felt all doom and gloom. Honestly, What a stunningly beautiful piece of music all of a sudden.
兄ちゃん
この試練を通じリリに部下と協力することを学ばせるのが狙いなのだ。
Just gonna say, pretty clever of him to use himself as a way by which to get her to mature? Where logic wasn't working.
リリの足なら走って1分もかからないし、部下の呪術師部隊だって常駐してるよ。
You know, I had a feeling she wasn't going to do what he wanted her to in an ideal world and kind of blasted through the whole thing, but it was still worth the win when it happened and freaked him out a bit.
協力して向こう側に渡れるのに。
仲間協力
Going to such stupid lengths to try and gently prod her in the right direction.
よーしありがとうゴッドさん私みんなに相談してみるね
As funny as it was, it's then very wholesome when it works, goodness me.
ほらゴッドさんのアドバイスのおかげですごくうまくいきましたありがとう
In fairness, this is better because she's doing things her own different way than doing everything as he planned it out, which would likely end up being a bit boring. So I'm here for it.
お仕事こういう風にやってみちゃダメかな
Then this plays really nicely with the Briar when, like a pair of childhood best friends, as she reveals, in her own way again, a method by which to do exactly what was needed, just with a little prod.
エキドナ様より黒騎士オニキスへ今すぐ出頭せよとのご命令です。
とうとうバレたのか。
Oh, come on now, this is absolutely a plot twist. You think he's going to be in the background doing his thing for at least a while yet, and then they hit you with this. I love it. Far more simple visuals, and yet such a great adventure type of vibe to the ED with a funky as all hell song to go along with it. I liked that one. Felt like a real team being built up here.
05直ちに戦闘を開始しろ。
了解しました。民間人の保護を最優先。
Whoa, what the heck is this all of a sudden? Genuinely shocked win.
救世主であるはずの私を出迎えたのは
As confused as I am, that's some tasty animation as he slices and dices familiar looking enemies in an insane unfamiliar looking city landscape.
私もオニキス教のおかげで仕事がだいぶ楽になりましたとは言いましたが。
いや絶対にそれだよバカ。
バカ
The building dynamic between them is actually seriously enjoyable right now. Him calling her a moron for acting like she has no idea why the Queen wants to see him and her being insulted by the comment. Quite the nice rotating shot here whilst they chat.
おお、そなたがオニキスか。そなたの働きっぷり、シュティーナから聞いておるぞ。急ぎ呼び出してしまってすまなかった。
Not quite the reaction I was expecting. They built it up like she was sus, and yet she's just plain old-fashioned, happy to see this new guy who has joined them.
まずい。
そうだ。ん？その顔は。
とっさのことで十分に顔を変えられなかった。
This is freaking awesome. He never gets caught out. Manages to ever so slightly change his face, and I feel like he's building a harem more, but it's early doors yet.
酒も美味。まさにこの世の楽園なり。
Just like with the blonde lady, we're starting to see a different side to her now during these scenes, and I gotta say, even though partly it could be due to her drinking, she's really likable.
やつならやってくれると信じておった。
そんな風に笑うのか。まるで普通の女の子みたいだな。
He's right. She's quite adorable like this, and like I said in the last win, really likable too.
このまま夜通し語り明かそうではないか。さあ飲め飲め。
夜通しとは強烈至極にございます。
How all of his plans he put into action have ended up not working at all when it comes to her, and it was pretty solid advice he was dishing out too. My god, that is perfection right there.
魔王軍に入りたがっていると聞きましたが、あれも歓迎されますか？
勇者 やつだけは例外だ。あんなのいらん。
That has got to be a plot twist win, if only because of the absolute change in her when asked that question. I found it genuinely quite shocking, no lie.
一面の荒れ地だったレナイエ周辺に緑を蘇らせたとか、賢者の石の守護のおかげで生徒の人間は病知らずだとか。
Finding out what the stone is, how it was found, how long ago said founding took place, and what is so great about it, which then makes sense why the Demon Queen would want it.
この口惜しさがわかるか。我ら魔王軍はレナイエ中央の神殿が見えるところまで攻め入ったのだぞ。
I actually really enjoy statements like this because it brings to my mind a map of sorts, where the invasion is taking place and shows me mentally how close the army came to the city.
軍団の多くを失っても魔界へ引かないのは支配が目的ではないから。賢者の石だけ手に入ればよいからですか。
そう。
This was an important and also tasty piece of lore that I'm glad was finally revealed.
なのにこいつは諦めず、軍団を再編成し、今なおこの魔王城に留まり続けている。
ついてこい。
Might sound strange, but one of the rare anime where the world continues to move in spite of the main character having internal monologue.
これはもう荒れ果てた大地でな。日もささぬ。常に薄暗く、空気はよどみ、草木は汚染され。
ずっとそんなことを考えながら戦っていたのか。みんなのために故郷を良くしたいなんて。
Makes total sense now why she'd want that stone, albeit Leo did mention that the stone isn't actually all it's cracked up to be, having used one previously, so that'll be interesting.
その生徒を支えている賢者の石を奪えば、様々な問題が発生するだろうが、それも覚悟の上だ。
I do like how there's no cut and dry solution, whereby they ask nicely and get the stone and everyone is happy, as she makes it clear it'd impact their own society if they got the stone too, meaning the humans.
竜神族やリリの故郷の人間など、我に協力する者は魔界にて庇護するが、それ以外の人間はどうなろうが知らぬ。
That's worth winning as well, because it shines nicely on her character in a positive way, that she'd give them a place to live, those who helped them.
友がいて、家族がいる。それを考えるとどうしてもな。
Speaking of things done differently, I gotta mention seeing the demons in a very neutral way, where they're not slobbering to eat some humans and whatnot, and just chilling like this.
この世界を守るため、邪悪なる侵略者を倒しに来るのは当然の話であろう。
Let's go! Even if she's only slightly warming up to him, although she doesn't know it's him right now, then that's a win in my book.
そして彼女に不安と絶望を与えた最大の要因。それは他ならぬ俺。勇者レオなのだ。
Have another here as he too looks back on the war with a negative emotion clouded over him because he now sees the conflict in a different light and his own actions as rubbing salt in the wound.
彼女を騙したくない。打算とかじゃなく、心の底からエキドナを応援したいんだ。故郷を救いたいと言った彼女を。
Man, they're piling on the wins for writing like this. I mean, the author originally, and how the animation team put it into the episode. But yeah, he's talking a lot of common sense. It's realistic, I think.
陛下、私は。いや、俺は。
エキドナ様、こちらにいらしたのですね。
It wasn't the world's biggest rug pull, measured at around 100 meters. Totally made that up for some reason. But it was a rug pull I hadn't expected all the same.
探さないでください。無影将軍メルネス。
部下の教育失敗の責を負い、自陣いたします。
So over the top for failing to train his troops. Then the first one is kind of moody, but I actually do like this, as he's already spent time with those two generals. Now we're getting time, no doubt, with the next two. A very quick not running on the spot.
そうじゃないよ。ちょっと旅行に行きたくなっただけだ。
そんな理由で四天王がホイホイ行方知れずになってたまるか。
As strange as it may sound, that's quite a funny little character trait to cover your ears like that.
いいから訳を話しやがれ。本気で魔王軍を抜けたいんなら無理に止めようとは思ってない。聞こえてんじゃねえか。
My guy seriously does cover all of his bases, doesn't he? Whilst he's chatting, even saying you can leave if you really want to, he's used magic to wrap up his leg. As gorgeous as this simple scenery is, I'm just glad that we were shown everything prior to this, as it felt a little random at first to be shown this part, then everything else. Most anime don't do that.
わかったわかった。俺がそいつを魔界に送り返しちまったんだな。
Two wins here, one after the next real quick. So the first one is the legit reason he has for running away, which at first seems a little childish, but no, there was a real reason for it.
旅に出ていろんな街を渡り歩けば何かつかめるかなって思ったんだけど。
And also how it impacts Leo, since he was the reason all of the prior agents and spies for the demon army fled back to the demon world. So of course he feels at fault and like he has to help, which aids his story and the story in general.
もういい。
I love his weird and kind of overpowered use of magic because it's so useful, like here.
あの後すぐに訓練所に赴いたのだが。あやつめ、本気で自らに刃を向けておった。
The dude is stupidly tough. I don't have much else to say on this win, but I felt it was a weird win all the same. I'm pretty sure that's a different shot of the castle, and even if it's not, who cares? It's one of the best looking buildings in anime to my eyes. A real good look at just some of the races of the demons. I say some because we've seen others like giants who aren't even shown here, and it's really like Elder Scrolls Ultra up in here. Even with it being quite the long scene where he goes in depth in terms of trying to help the general in communication, for me it's win-worthy because it goes beyond resolving it in moments or by doing something super simple.
新入りの傭兵か。治安維持はエドバルトたちの担当だが、さすがに今は無理だよな。
How not everything in their army is hunky-dory and naturally has some teething issues like with these new people.
折れてる折れてるもう折れてます。
まだ折れてない。あと少しこっち側にひねると。
Just plain and simple, good.
疲れた。
Another example of a really, really good sounding song in this.
それに、あいつらを見ておすすめ料理を提案したりもしてただろ。
少しはうまくできてた。
Glad he mentioned this, as before they started acting really shitty, he did actually break through that awkward wall and started recommending food and drinks.
何でもいいの？
何でもいいぞ。
何でも答える。
Might have seemed like I was highlighting weird parts of dialogue, but no, it's the lovely as hell song again. This one really transports me into a fantasy RPG type of world when I hear it. Very nice. Cityscape that looks nice but confuses me because it shouldn't exist in this world.
こんな話をしているんだろう。今夜は俺の部屋でこのメルネスに会話スキル上達のための模擬面接をするだけのつもりだったのに。
Wait, how is he telling this story? Does this actually exist? Is he isekai'd and I only just found out now?
人類なんて魔王軍に合流しなくてもお前一人で滅ぼせるじゃないかって。
Another great mystery element because he's right. Leo could do that from everything we've seen.
周りの人間たちに気味悪がられ、親にまで捨てられ、奴隷商人に売り飛ばされ。
Our first proper backstory into one of the generals is a most welcome addition. Obviously we saw a tiny bit about the Beast Girls, but nothing really about the hot blonde elf. Sadly, it's a very brief shot, but it's a gorgeous looking one that clearly would have taken someone a long time to create.
我らの目的は聖都レナイエにある。魔王軍の拠点としてこの町を再建する計画をまとめました。
Two here, firstly it's a crowd shot and a fairly packed one at that. But also, it gives more history to their war, because it seemed at the start that they got their asses handed to them very fast. But as we've come to know, they were successful at the start, hence taking this city.
ついでに悪徳領主を捕まえといたぞ。
お城にいっぱい食べ物があったよ。みんなでワクワクしようね。
And And on top of the last win, we come to see that their invasion was, in certain places anyway, a welcome change for how the humans had been living up to that point in time, shining more of a light on their war for us.
信仰の最中のんきに宴なんて。
そう思う気持ちもわからなくはありません。でもこれもエキドナ様なりのお考えがあってこそなのです。
To be fair to the lads, this is exactly the kind of dialogue I was hoping someone would say. Like, yes, they've got their reasons, but most people would be expressing the same thoughts.
まあいい。いざとなればエキドナを倒し、僕が魔王軍を率いて人類を滅亡させてやる。
Now this was a thought I had not expected from him. Again, it's steeped in realism, but also it's a darker side to the story that I can also appreciate a lot.
僕の人生には面白いことなんて一つもありませんみたいな顔しやがって。
I mentioned his black armor he's wearing around the fortress, but this one from his hero days is equally cool, if not more cool. Him offering real advice to the lad even way back when, after their battle, shows how much of a legend and all-around nice guy he is too.
クールな切れ者だと思っていたシュティーナはただのポンコツ女だったし、アホの野生児だと思っていたリリは真面目ないい子だったし、俺の志望動機を聞いて黙り込んでいたのも不服だったからじゃな。人間たちに追い出された俺に心の底から同情してくれてたのか。
Easy win here, firstly for showing how there's more depth to these generals than first meets the eye, and secondly because the comments on the assassins were well put, even more so than the other two.
何を話し出しているんだ。機械文明が最盛期だった頃、魔術が世界中に普及する前。
Bruh, if this is what I think it is, then it's getting max wins, because that'd be a huge reveal that the world wasn't this way. Even just this confusion is a plot twist win for now.
大陸の形が今と少し違い、生徒のあたりが東京と呼ばれていた時代だ。東京のど真ん中に突然穴が開いたのは。
And there we have it! That's an amazing plot twist! A GLPT or a god level plot twist after 5 episodes of high fantasy world building, and it turns out this is the past in this world, and there's more to him too!
彼らはエキドナと同じだ。薄暗い魔界に嫌気がさして暖かな光を求めて地上、人間界へやってきたようだった。
I really enjoy this reasoning too, rather than it being a case that they're all just evil and want to wreck stuff.
数人がかりで悪魔一体を追い払うのがやっとだった。
Happy to see this, as at first I was thinking, my god, it'd be easy to wipe them out. But no, they're not quite as flesh and blood as they look.
悪魔を倒すには悪魔を作るしかない。間もなく完成だ。
That's got to score yet another max wins. The idea being that he was, I'm guessing, kind of a superhuman that was created an insanely long time ago. So maybe he doesn't age and whatnot. This is such a good twist.
他のデモンハートシリーズが戦いの中、一体また一体と散っていき、俺だけが勇者として生き続けた。
In a way, it makes his situation even more sad because initially, in a way, he had 11 other brothers and sisters, and yet one by one they fell to either time or being killed in battle, leaving him alone.
その後も戦が起こるたびにただただ戦い続けた。強くなりすぎた俺には死に場所なんてどこにもなかったんだ。
It's such an insane joy to me to not only be hearing all of this, but hearing it in detail and seeing it too, of course. All the many, many years he has been fighting. It tells us so much, like how he's so strong and so on.
嬉しかった。
そうか。俺嬉しかったんだな。うん。間違いない。
Genuinely good voice acting from him right there, as he adopts a very different sounding tone, one filled with a mixture of surprise and melancholy for the first time this series.
勇者なんて不要だ。あいつを殺せ。世界中からの温かい言葉。それは俺にとっては貴重な、生まれて初めての勇者を辞めるチャンスの到来だったんだから。
That's legit brilliant to me. Firstly, because it goes so nicely with the name of the anime. Secondly, because it was the first time he was no longer needed in a sense and could thus live life how he wanted.
ただの元勇者だよ。生まれつきやたら強く作られただけのな。 年はわからん。1000歳を超えたあたりから数えるのをやめた。
It's oddly refreshing how chill he is about all of this.
駅ドナも四天王もバカだがいい奴らだ。この俺がお前らのためになら頑張ってもいいなって思うくらいにはな。
バカって。
In the same vein, it makes this a win for me, as it gives reasoning for why he's doing this. He genuinely likes them, both for their initial interactions during battle, but also for what he's seen since.
しょうがねえな。
For context, he was kinda wiped out after their conversation and fell asleep there in his room. But the win is because it was really wholesome at the end and the music was very Final Fantasy VIII-ish.
あいつなら架け橋になれるかもしれない。
Two here, one, art style change. Well, not really, but it looks really good, clearly done by hand. And also, it was the mystery element to it. Like, who is this? How might they help? And why are they in a big old book?
父上。
Last minute and unexpected kawaii. That will do it for the great first part, ladies and gents. The Patreon supporter of the week is naturally Ghost, who provided all of the funds for this video, so please join me in thanking him in the comments. Without patrons like Ghost, I wouldn't be able to provide the content I do, so please consider supporting using the link in the description or by visiting patreon.com/thehonestgamer.